Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is it really true? Is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show. Everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smartass than a dumbass. Because, guys, 32 years ago, I was a dumbass. But today, 32 years later, through the grace of God, I can honestly say now I'm a smartass. Yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times. It means donkey, and that's what I was. I'm saying all this to say we've all had the roughest few years of our lives all over the world, not just here, right? And unfortunately, a lot of people didn't make it, and a lot through addiction, even friends and family members of mine. So I want to let everyone out there know if you're struggling, someone is listening. Okay? You don't have to be alone. I'm a nutritional health coach. I'm also a recovery coach. Please, please reach out. And if you think my book can help someone, because I do, you can go right to Simon & Schuster's bookstore, Archway Publishing, BAM, Barnes & Noble, Amazon. You can go to my website, www.geripetito.com. You could order it from there. And please subscribe to the Geri Petito Show YouTube channel. Okay? A lot of people know that I do a lot of shows on addiction and recovery. And I always do my best to have people who've dealt with something tragic, who have progressed, moved on to do something incredible with that horrendous situation. I have an incredible guest here with me today. So everyone in her community knows her as Colin'S mom, Marcella Marie. And she started something called Colin'S. I'm going to let her, you know what? I'm going to let her talk to you about this and tell you what it is. I don't want to mess this up at all. So first of all, Marcy, I want you to say hello to everyone.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Colin'S Wish, you talk about it. Tell everybody.
Okay, so Colin'S Wish is a nonprofit that I created in memory of my son, who passed away 6 years coming up this Monday, October 30th, 2017. He passed away when he was 21 years old. And I have my own history, and I've done a lot of service on the streets before my son was even of age to want to join me. But when it was his wish to join me on the streets. 15, he's a little too cool to hang out with his mom. And his addiction started when he had his wisdom teeth taken out. So it went downhill. It went downhill very, very quickly. It was not even 3 years, and he had passed. So I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
But it was his wish to join me on the streets, and that's why I called it Colin'S Wish. Also, his initial for his last name is W as well, so it's still CW. But yeah, that's Colin'S Wish. We do a lot with the community. We give back to those who are less fortunate, especially those that are homeless on the streets, dealing with their mental illness and addiction as well. We are on the front lines. We help on the streets. We do feedings. We give out Narcan, clothing, food, Gatorade, sandwiches, cereal and milk. I just love it. But So yeah, we give a lot back to the community. But going back a little bit, so I was 27 when I had my son, and before I realized that I was pregnant, I had led a crazy life myself, and did some things that I'm not really too proud of. I think I'm far enough into it where I don't say that I have a problem with it anymore, although I don't speak of it, especially because I have a 17-year-old. And I'm not proud of some things that I've done at that time. But anyway, I did have my own problem at that time. And I didn't really see an end for myself until I found out that I was pregnant. And I think I was like 2 months pregnant or something, and my best friend had said something. And sure enough, I was. We did the test and all that. And my life just like changed, total 360. And, I was still, I lost my home. We got evicted, lost my pet. I couldn't get gas put in my name. Like, I've been over there. But just by doing good, things came back to us little by little. And then we had a place that we could call our home where we were settled by the time I had my son. But he changed my life.
Okay.
He was a gift to me for those 21 years. And, he changed my life. My life could have went the other way. So I've always been thankful and grateful for that. He was the first grandson, my first child. So he was pretty special, very special to everybody in the family. He was an amazing kid, very determined, athletic. If he liked sport, he was all in, soccer, football. The only thing he really didn't do was like hockey. Wasn't really into hockey, but he loved his paintball. Had an awesome paintball family, which was just amazing. But I apologize if I'm getting off here. But yeah, so Colin was like a gift to me, and it was a different kind of high that I was on for those 21 years. And when he was 15, 16 years old, he had his wisdom teeth taken out. We didn't know at the time, but he had refilled that prescription, which were Percocets. Before we knew it, things were getting a little out of control. Went to a music festival. It was called. I was like, what? You mean a concert? Okay. So him and his friend Joe, who they're like brothers, called themselves cousins.
Okay.
Really tight. Actually, Joe's mom and I were roommates before we had Colin or Joe. So, we were a tight family. And him and Joe went to a music festival, and they were asked if they wanted to smoke, and they said okay. They didn't know what they were smoking, but they smoked it. I don't understand that. But I didn't know, because later after that, talking to Joe's mom, she was saying how they were sick that weekend. She figured they drank all night, blah, 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 blah. We had no idea. No idea. And that was the beginning. That was the beginning. Colin's got a sister. He was 10 years old when she was born. Loved his sister, called her Sissy. They were really close, but not so much. They fought like cats and dogs. Even though they were 10 years apart, you'd never know it because they'd fight like they were both the same age. And it's funny because now my daughter will say, oh, well, you started all that, right? Well, it wasn't my son, it was her the whole time. And I'm like, oh, I knew it, But she was a gift. Oh my God, what would I do without her now? Um, um, so I don't know where I left off, but
You were telling us that they went to the musical concert, and that's where it, you had no idea. And then you were telling us a little bit about his relationship with his sister.
yes, they were very close. But after that festival, like things started going downhill. I started hearing different things from people in town. Um, I had said something to his dad, and we had some kind of intervention, or they had an intervention. Didn't invite me because my son didn't want me there. Every time I saw my son, I'd call him out. Like I'd be like, "Come on, dude. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, I know. Like, you're just like me. Like, I know exactly what you're thinking. I've been there. Like, don't think I'm a fool." Um,
Was he
so
living with you at the time? Were you with his dad, or were you separated?
we were separated.
Okay.
He was with his dad for quite a while.
Okay.
And then he came to stay with me, and then he realized, like, okay, well, I can get what I get from my mom, and when I'm done with her, I can go back to dad. And so he played that game for a little bit.
Okay.
And then his dad at one point didn't want him there, and it was just a mess. It was a mess. Because you got this like totally amazing kid that was smart. Cleaned his room if you asked him to clean. I tell my 17-year-old right now to clean her room. She's like, what? My son would actually clean his room because I asked him to. So they're just like night and day.
Okay.
But
So let me ask you this then. All right.
all right, yeah.
So did he know obviously about your past?
No,
Oh.
never talked about it. Never talked about it.
Okay. So he didn't know. Okay.
Mm-mm.
So okay. So now when all this was going on, you as a mom who's been there, okay, like I was, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Watching it is very difficult because I couldn't imagine, right? Because we know. Did you feel like you were powerless over helping him?
Absolutely. Because one, what I was told was limited. Again, my son didn't want me to know everything.
Okay.
And I had all my suspicions and everything that I had heard, and I did a little bit of research to find out, because I've never heard of this drug. You know what I mean? It wasn't around when I was growing up. Thank God. And I was like, wow. I just learned so much and just knew so much, and I think he didn't want me to know. Every time I knew what he was up to. Did I answer your question?
Yes. Did he ever ask or talk to you about him thinking he may need some help, or no?
Yes, towards the end, yes, absolutely. And in the beginning, it was like kind of like his dad was taking charge of everything.
Okay.
He did overdose a couple times. Second time, he was in Florida. He came home and we were starting all over. Did detox. He was staying at a place in Philly. And that was his last place that he stayed at. But he went, it was probably about 7, 8, 9 times between detox and treatment. And
Okay.
he's completed probably at least 3 or 4 of those. We're seeing certificates and, good job,
Okay.
but, yeah, I wish I knew more then.
Okay.
because I didn't know much at all. I relied on these groups on Facebook, just reading and not even speaking in a group, just kind of like being a sponge, getting as much information as I can about what's going on. So yeah, he stayed with us for a while. It was different. It was hard. My husband is a retired police officer right now.
Oh, your current husband.
Yes.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that. Wow.
And he was on the job at that time, when my son was going through all that. So it was a little hard. In the beginning, like I would hear like stories. He never talked about work at home or anything, but I would, we would watch TV shows and I'd get a little bit of this or a little bit of that and kind of put things together in my head about what's going on. And we had a close friend that we had grown up with. Her sister had actually passed away from an overdose, and it was pretty eye opening. Like, because she was normal, she was happy, she was just, taking her pills and drinking. It's a little too much, which is so easy to do. And we lost several friends like that, not just Leslie, and not just, all of them. There's so many. But so I didn't understand what it was at that time. And I'm like, well, I don't understand. Like, what are these people doing? Like, why can't they stop? Why? And I've answered that question many years ago. In the beginning when I first started this. I've learned so much. And I just hope what I know I can help someone else. It might not help them right now, right? Not this second, but you know what? It'll click. It'll click for somebody.
I want to read a poem out of my book. I want to read a couple of them actually, but I want to read this one first. And then I would like you to talk a little bit more about when it came to the end for your son, because people who are listening, we really want them to understand that there's hope out there. We can help them. Okay, so this poem I wrote is called Change Your Choice. I had a life-changing moment that I knew had to be. The only way to change things was to first start with me. So I looked in the mirror and woke up one day and thought to myself I needed to pray. So I asked God to change me, to help me stay strong, to clean up my mess, to right what's been wrong. I cleaned up my diet, I cleaned up my room, I cleaned up all habits with this old dirty broom. I kept going forward and never looked back. I refused to derail, stayed on the right track. I realized my worth and all that did matter through my selfish behavior, the lives I had shattered. I finally decided at 30 years old to stop abusing my body, my mind, heart, and soul. My life-changing choice that I had once made, over 32 years now, guys, my debt has been paid. So you read all my thoughts on how to stay clean. It's all or nothing, my friend. There's no in between. To live or to die is a choice you must make. Your life is not worthless, and you're not a mistake. One day at a time is a slogan you've heard. It works if you work it while applying His word. For you to get healthy, for your mind not to fail, escaping reality will keep you in jail. With addictive behavior, sex, drugs, food, or money, substituting addictions, now isn't that funny? May the good Lord bless and guide you. So I want to talk a little bit about what that poem really means to people listening out there who may be going through something right now. So guys, the one thing that I do tell everyone is I'll never tell anyone not to go to meetings, not to go to AA, NA, none of that. If that's your support system, please go. But keep this in mind. You are not powerless, not over anything. Okay? Take it to God. He can help change your life. He did mine. Okay? So if we're continually brainwashed, we're powerless over our disease of addiction, we're going to believe it. And I want everybody out there to understand you're not powerless over it. Not that or anything. Okay? Reach out. All my services are free. Okay? I'm here to help you. So, Marcy, let's talk a little bit about what ended up happening towards the end.
Okay. So towards the end, Colin and Joe, I guess when he was about 15, 16, I'm like, these boys are just not good for each other. They'd get in trouble constantly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, stop hanging out with Joe, stop hanging out with Joe. Then they did the music festival and things started going downhill. Colin had gone away. I remember when we were in Florida and he was trying to scam a way to get a bus pass so he can go back and stay with Joe. He was going to sleep in Joe's basement. And they're always scamming and scheming something. So anyway, he was doing pretty good. He was staying at a house in Philadelphia on Shunk in South Philadelphia. And he had the privilege to come home on the weekends. Saturday, he would play paintball. And Sunday, one weekend, he'd stay with his dad. Then the next weekend, he would come and spend the whole day with me. And this Sunday prior, he had stopped and made a pit stop in Camden and got whatever he got. And we didn't know about it until he got the results back of his UA. And the house manager called and said to his dad, hey, this is what's going to go down when he gets back. This is what's got to happen. Which I'll never understand. Because it was like midnight. And, in an addict's mind, it's like, whew, hi. And that's what he did. Stopped in Camden again on his way to his buddy Joe's grandpa's house, because Joe was now staying in his grandfather's house in Somerdale or Magnolia. And he was there. So I talked to him like at midnight, and he's like, don't worry, everything will be fine, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, dude, where are you going to go? I'm going to meet up with Joe. I'll be fine. I'm like, all right. Okay. So, what can I do? He's in Philly. By the time I get there, I thought of everything. Nothing I could have done. So we ended up at Joe's in the middle of the night. They did what he bought. And it's only what I know. My son was, if not out, he was on the floor. And Joe had chatted, got his phone out and hit Snapchat and was like, oh, here's Colin again. He's having trouble breathing once again. Because my son's got issues with his nose and breathing and stuff like that. He's got ear issues. So he Snapchat and not realizing that my son was overdosing. So, that's something I found out, obviously after the fact. But, I was in a rental real estate class for my job. I work for H&R Block. Sitting in this class, and my phone rings. Now, I usually answer any phone call, because at that time, any number could have been my son, but I didn't answer it. This was in class, and I'm like, all right, well, it's not his number, so I'm not gonna worry about it. That's the number again, and then not long after that, my husband calls. We talk. We don't really ever call each other. We'll text or something like that. And he's like, hey, and I'm like, yeah, I just started freaking out. I was like, what's up? He's like, your son was just taken to Jefferson and Stratford by ambulance. He's like, meet me there. And I was like, okay. So I packed up all my stuff. I left my class. I just ran out the door. And the hospital's like right down that main road that I was on. So I just, just worried about getting there. And I was driving there, and I saw his dad, like I'm going towards the hospital, and his dad's coming towards me, and I'm like, didn't really register, and I was like, and I was going to follow him, and then I'm like, what am I doing? And then I saw my husband, and he like raises his hands like, what the hell are you doing? So I'm like, I have no idea. So he said, just park the car, I'll meet you there. So I get there, get to the hospital. My son's already gone. It's already gone. When I got there, I mean, they were just taking all the tubes and everything off of him at that point. From what I understood, was that he passed at the scene. So, it was just horrible. My boy, my love, my forever, my everything. How could they let that happen? And then to find out what happened, with the Snapchat, and I didn't, Joe's mom and I, best friends, before we had kids. Her sister and I were best friends before her and I were best friends. I mean, they were like part of my life for 30 years. So, it was really hard. It was really, really hard. So I found out that, again, I'm just getting little pieces. My son's backpack was in the basement at Joe's pop's house. But my son was found across the street. Joe didn't call 911. They were best friends. Joe didn't want to let my boy die, but he did. He did. He was scared. He was really scared. He didn't want to get in trouble. Wasn't supposed to have any friends there. And him and Colin, every time they got together, it was something. It was always something. I laugh now because it's funny because they did that, They were like 17, 18, and they stole Yu-Gi-Oh cards from Walmart. And I'm like, I got like a shoebox of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, dude. Like, why would you do that? Something to do. Like he means no harm. But yeah, it's just the drugs.
It was the drugs, yeah.
Yeah. So, I didn't know how to deal with that. I really didn't. And for me, it's like easy way out, I didn't want to press charges.
Okay.
I mean, this kid was like my nephew. He was like, like I saw him grow up. I knew his baby brother and his sister and his mom and his grandmom. And like, no, I don't want to ruin his day. I can't ruin it anymore. So I just moved on. It was a roller coaster. I remember not knowing how to deal with it. I puked every day for 5 months straight.
Sure.
my insides, like, I could just, it was like a wave. And I couldn't control it and get used to that vibe. And I could be anywhere. Sorry about that.
Marcy, let me ask you this. I want you to breathe. Let me ask you this. People that are listening, we have a few minutes left. Are you able to give some words of encouragement to other moms that are going through something similar? Take a deep breath. Breathe.
Well, I'm going to say go with your gut. You know your child. You know what they're going through. It's so easy. My son's behavior was night and day. And as much as, we tried to look beyond it and, make excuses and listen to his excuses and, go at your gut. Don't stop loving. I never stopped, never gave up on my son, and was always so positive to a point where sometimes he hated it. And he's like, you don't know. And I'm like, yo, man, just fight it out. You can do this, He's karate kid. It's almost got his black belt. Like, he knows he can fight. And I had that hope, He overdosed 3 times. 3rd time was just, Later I know we only have a few minutes, but later I found that he wasn't even Narcan.
Okay.
When EMTs got there, he's already dead, DOA, that's it, he's out. So I just found that out a couple of years ago. But yeah, don't give up on your kid, no way, no how. There's people out there, so many people, hundreds of thousands, more people than in any war we've had, the AIDS epidemic, like so much, and they're still dying. And you know what? Nobody's doing nothing about it. I'm angry about that.
Before I read this poem, I want to ask you something. You may not even know the answer to this, but do you know if he had a will to die? Like, did he want to die? Do you know if it was more like that, or?
He didn't want to die, but
Okay.
he was not afraid to die.
Okay.
Because we've had that conversation. His cousin had passed away February of that year that he had passed.
Okay.
So like 9 months prior, he didn't want to die.
Okay.
He didn't want to die.
Okay. I want to read this poem. This one's called "Put Down the Gun." And the gun can be anything, guys. It could be gambling, it could be food, sex addiction, like whatever is ruining your life. Alcohol, drugs, right? Whatever it is that's ruining your life. Let me read it and then I'll talk to you. All right, here we go. Put down the gun. I had to have this purple gun just in case my life was done. I kept it safe locked in my room 'cause I was filled with gloom and doom. Yes, there were times that I just knew if I loaded it up what I could do, but I kept on hearing that gentle voice. Put down that gun. You have that choice. Life may seem hard at the end of the day, but that's when you need to really pray. Dear Father, I beg you to show me the truth. How can life be so bad when I'm only a youth? Get rid of that gun and go take a shower. Ask someone for help. You do have that power. So everybody out there who's listening and struggling today, okay, I want to make you understand once again, you are not powerless. You have to make a choice here, okay? Put down the gun. Whatever it is that you're doing to destroy your life, I want everyone out there to understand that you're worth it, okay? No matter how you see yourself right now, I'm letting you know you're worth it, and your loved ones care about you. They love you. They don't want to see this happening to you. Okay? So please, please reach out. This beautiful lady here just told us her story, and she lost her son. And moms, if you're listening and you have a child that's going through this, I hope your story doesn't end like hers did. Okay? So you can also reach out. Okay? I counsel families as well. Marcy, I want to close with a question for you. I'm going to give you the mic for a few more minutes. And I guess this is my question. I mean, I already probably know the answer, but I want people out there to really understand, okay? Because a lot of parents, maybe that have lost a child, are feeling guilty. Like, what if? I should have. What if this? What if that? You know what I mean? I want you to talk to them. Do you feel any kind of guilt? Talk to them about possibly not feeling guilty. Take the mic, please.
Never gave up on my son. We always reasoned. We always worked it out. I had no guilt when he passed, because I knew how hard he tried, and I knew I tried everything that I could possibly do in my power. I didn't enable him in a way where, I was giving him money or anything, but I never, ever stopped loving him, and he knew that. So he had everything that he could possibly want, He found a way to get what he needed on his own, however he did that. But there's a lot of hope out there. My son, he didn't want to die. He didn't want to die. I think what's most important, though, to know is that when they do die, the number one question is like, oh my God, like, did it hurt? Were they injured? Like, what happened to them? It's just like to go to sleep. So it wasn't something horrible. Like he wasn't in a bad accident or anything, and I had to have him cremated because of that.
Right.
I mean, we did, but it's a whole other story.
Okay.
But yeah, don't give up hope. There's so much hope out there and so much help. So much help. When my son passed in 2017, it wasn't like it is now.
Okay.
And you reach out.
So I want to share something with everyone. A lot of you are probably going to disagree with what I'm saying, and that's okay. Take the good, leave the bad, right? But I want to share something with everyone. So nothing in my book is opinions. Everything in my book is based on facts. Facts that a lot of them we're not allowed to know. Okay, so I'm going to share a couple things with everyone listening. The reason why a lot of the programs fail, the death rate is astronomical. And do your research, guys. Google. Do your research. So AA and NA, the death rate is off the charts. Okay? Again, I never tell anyone not to go if they truly have no other support system. But if you're listening to me and you have a support system, you have friends, you have family, you have loved ones, use them as your support system and use God. I'm going to share something that might make you guys understand what I'm saying is true. Okay? On one hand, the programs teach the addict that they have a disease, that they were born with it, and they will have it forever. That's not true. What happens is this: your brain cells change, so you have a dis-ease of your brain cells happening. Okay? So it's a disease, say, at that point, while you're using. You weren't born with, I'm going to be an addict. You were not born with that. Unless, like she was talking about being pregnant or whatever, and the baby comes out as an addict. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay? So in 1 year, those brain cells can be healed. I'm not an addict. I haven't done anything in 32 years, and I could be around addicts. I could be in bars. Okay? I used to have poker leagues in bars every night. Okay? I could walk outside and my friends are smoking pot and hang out and talk to them. I have no desire. My brain cells were healed. Okay? So the disease is gone. And I'm going to say something to you now that will prove to you what I'm saying is right. Hear me out, okay? On one hand, the programs tell the addict, you were born with this disease, you have a disease forever. And you're powerless over your disease. So you have to go to the meetings and say, hi, I'm Geri, I'm an addict, and I'm powerless over my disease. You say that every day. You're in meetings sometimes twice a day. You say it twice a day. What you're doing is brainwashing yourself, which is what they want. Okay? You're brainwashing yourself into believing that. Now, here's how I can tell you what they're doing is not right. On the other hand, they're telling the family members, the loved ones, let your loved one who's got a disease that they're powerless over, let them hit rock bottom. Don't give them money. Sometimes it means making them leave the house. Sometimes it means, right? Whatever it is, let them hit rock bottom. If your loved one truly, truly, truly had a disease that they were powerless over, would you throw them out of the house? No. Would you not help them? No. But I'm okay with you not enabling them because they don't have this so-called disease forever that they're powerless over. They have choices to make. Where I'm different than the programs, and I've done this to 2 family members, okay? I got calls, very bad situations. I kidnapped both of them. That's right, kidnapped them. My one cousin is 6 foot. Very bad story. I'm not going to get into it. His wife died who wasn't even an addict. And the daughter had to come home and walk over her father, who was passed out for 3 days in the living room, to find her mom, who they thought had the flu, dead in the bathroom. So when I got the call, I kidnapped him. Drove an hour away. I'm 5'3", he's 6 foot. I threatened him. Said, get in the car right now. I'm going to punch you right in the face. Yes, I did. He said, okay, cuz. Got him help. He's doing fine. Okay? I don't believe that at some point you don't have that right. You have that right. Because there's going to come a point in time where your loved one who is an addict can't think clear, can't make these decisions. Okay? Kidnap them. I don't care. And then after 3 months, after 6 months, okay, one of my cousins, probably, let's see, it had to be close to 35 years ago now. My older cousin, he's now 70, in New York. Heroin. Wife called, desperate. Guess what? Me and my brother did. We went there, got the wife and him, kidnapped him, locked him in my basement, guys. You understand? Yes, we did. His wife stayed in my home with me. My brother brought the food down to him and threatened him every day. He's still clean. Because at some point, they're not able to make those decisions when it gets that bad. So for the programs to be saying this poor person has a disease forever and they were born with it and they're powerless over it, this poor person, but tell the family to kick them out until they hit rock bottom and it doesn't make sense. So guys, understand I'm telling you the truth. So if you have a loved one that you feel desperate right now, kidnap them. Get them in a place. Get them some hope. After 30 days, guess what? If they say, I don't want to be here, then that's their choice. Okay? Just get them to get a little bit of clarity. Just a little bit. Okay? Then once they get out of there, and if they still do it, that's their choice. So guys, reach out. Please reach out to me. I'll guide you. I'll help you. I've got some connections. Please, please reach out. Marcy, I want to thank you so, so much for sharing your story, because somebody out there needed to hear it. And I know you gave somebody hope today. Okay, I know that. And Colin'S Wish, tell everyone one more time, and if you have a website, anything, but tell them one more time what Colin'S Wish is, please.
Okay. So Colin'S Wish is a nonprofit organization in New Jersey, and we do several things throughout the community. We do dinners at the shelters. There's a Camden County shelter that is in Camden. So if you reach out to Volunteers of America, if you're homeless, need housing or any of their services, and you need to be placed, they will put you in one of their shelters. It's a family shelter that we visit, and we provide a home-cooked dinner there once a month, and we just started doing birthday parties there. Everything we do is donated. We're donation-based. We don't get grants or anything like that. We're too small to get that kind of funding. But we do, birthday parties on Facebook and stuff. We'll get, a couple hundred here or there. But a lot of things are donated. A lot of my volunteers will cook for our dinners. When we go out on the streets, we work with the Department of Health. They provide us with wound care, also snacks and water, in addition to Narcan and a number of things. Weather kits for when it gets cold, blankets, socks, and all that kind of stuff. So we're on the street quite a bit. We are donation based, and our website is colinswish.org, and it's www.colinswish.org. /donate if you wanted to make a monetary donation. And if you follow us on Facebook, we're facebook.com/colinswish. And at our page, you can find events on our main page, and you will see our events that we have planned throughout the rest of the year. We also do a adopt a family through Volunteers of America, and Colin'S Wish adopts anywhere between 15 and maybe 40 families, and we will share them with our supporters, and they will adopt a family, and we will bless some families that normally wouldn't celebrate Christmas. So we do that as well. I can go on and on. We do Narcan training as well in the communities. That's getting to be a big thing. Kids anywhere from 10 to 19 is getting to be a hot age of these kids that are overdosing. Okay. You're buying these pills and stuff on TikTok. They have no idea. Everything is laced with fentanyl. So, yeah.
Well, Marcy, thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Thank you.
I want everybody out there to share this video, please. Reach out to Marcy on Facebook. Please go to her website. Please do whatever you can to help. And if you're someone in need, please reach out to us as well. Okay?
For sure. For sure.
Yes. And please share this video. So Marcy, again, thank you, sweetheart, for telling your story. I know you've helped someone out there today. You've given someone hope.
Thank you.
So thank you. Producer, take us out. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Love's the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do, just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
Is really true, is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.